years, several groups of people have been victims of discrimination. After the 9/11 attack on the Twin Towers, South Asians have become a newly targeted group. They have had to deal with several injustices, such as racial profiling, and a very controversial law known as the Patriot Act. Many students, even on campus, have personal experiences of having to deal with this terrorist image that has been placed on them.
Like, I am Muslim and I am from Pakistan. I was born there and everything, and people just look at you and they just automatically assume
a terrorist.
All of them terrorists.
All terrorists.
Terrorist. A terrorist.
It happened 2 or 3 years ago, and it was a Saturday morning, I think, and everyone was dead asleep. It was really early morning, probably 6 or 7 o'clock, and these officers had come to our door. I think they were naturalization service officers, and they wanted to raid our house. They wanted to inspect it, and my parents were really confused, and we asked for a warrant, and we asked for the exact reason why they wanted to come into the house, but they didn't have a search warrant, and they kind of were really pushy and rude, and they said that they had some suspicions about our house because of the last names that were on our mail and everything, and we were all half asleep, and they came and they went into all the bedrooms.
I was jumped by 5 guys in broad daylight on my block coming home from school, and pretty much beat me up thinking that I was a terrorist because of my last name. They thought because that my last name was Khan at that time that I was Muslim. So, and whereas I'm Catholic, I ended up telling my parents to change our name back to her maiden name, so that my brother doesn't have the same problem that I did. No matter what you're wearing, you can be wearing, Pakistani clothes, you can be wearing American clothes, but if you have that image of being South Asian, you will be linked to being terrorist. Like, there's so many times that people have given me dirty looks because they think I'm, terrorist. And especially at the airport, like the whole, security checks, randomness, no, there's nothing random about them. You can obviously, they profile you, and yeah, it's a shame.
Everybody after that was really afraid, and they just figured anybody who looked like that or anybody who believed or whatever like that was basically a terrorist. I mean, I thought it was kind of ludicrous because I even heard the president say, someone of terrorist descent. I mean, how do you, decide on someone who's of terrorist descent? That's not something you can go by because terrorism is not something that's, specific to a certain group of people. I mean, anybody can be a terrorist. I mean, there's terrorism going on in America, but, he talks about that.
Image, basically, I think that a lot of Americans are viewing South Asians more negatively than they really are. There's so many here and they're being stereotyped negatively than they should be. Only a certain group of people did what actually happened during 9/11.
What is your personal opinion of the Patriot Act that was passed?
My personal opinion about the Patriot Act was at the time when it was definitely like a proposal, it was right after 9/11. And I think everybody kind of reacted on emotions, and because everyone was upset at what had happened, and I think that's how that kind of went through. But as of right now, after 9/11, years later, I don't agree with it because it's invading in people's privacy. So far as tapping in on phones and whatnot, I don't agree with that.
That's a very controversial bill that was pushed through by both Republicans and Democrats, which I'm surprised because it basically limited rights of anyone and could declare anyone anyone associated with terrorists basically loses all their constitutional rights. So technically it's an unconstitutional bill, but it's never been challenged. So I feel like bills like infringing on human rights. You can't just take away a person's constitutional rights.